You know, makeup and skincare have been an integral part of women's lives for a very long time. Even the earliest makeup looks showcased bright and bold colors, and even ancient Egyptian women were huge fans of their skincare routine. But how did we find out what is, and more importantly, isn't safe to put on our faces? Well, it took a lot of trial and error. But Victorian beauty was like kind of on another level of crazy. So that's what I want to focus on today. Today, I want to talk about the weird stuff that Victorians used for skincare and makeup, as well as where their ideas of beauty kind of came from. Now, one of the most popular beauty standards at this time was to kind of look like you had tuberculosis. Yeah, you know that horrifying disease that kills you slowly, one bloody cough at a time? That's the one you're aiming for. Now, if you don't know what this disease looked like, let me share with you, okay? Victims of tuberculosis could expect progressive weight loss, as well as frequent fevers causing reddened cheeks, and frequent coughs, which would produce bloody sputum. Basically, if you looked like a Tim Burton character, you're fine. You looked sexy. But what if you looked normal? I'm here to help you look like an English rose, okay? Come along with me, I will help you, and we can look like a beautiful Victorian English rose together. First thing you want to use, arsenic. This one's kind of a two-in-one combo deal because first, you could go to an arsenic bathhouse. What that's going to do is it's going to bleach your skin, get you that pale look, right? That's what we're going for. The second bonus thing that an arsenic bath will do is to melt off all of your unwanted hair. Probably use a shower cap or, tie up your hair on your head because I don't think you want to be bald when you come out.
You're bald?
But it's going to get rid of all your netherly region hair. Okay? Now you can also eat the arsenic. Not too much. Don't eat too much of it because it's probably going to lead to death. But if you just have it in small doses, small quantities, it will help you lose the weight to get to that consumptive look, okay? That's the thing I kept seeing when I was researching about this. You wanted to look like you had a consumptive disease. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. But that's what you want to look like the body is being consumed by this horrifying disease that you have contracted. Okay, so we've got the pale skin. We've got the weight loss. What else do we need? Watery eyes. That's what we need. We need the watery eyes, okay? So, I think we're going to have to put some weird shit in your eyes, okay? So here's this. Now, I've already mentioned this in another video, and I'll link it somewhere here, but there was no FDA at this time, right? There's no one to help regulate what you can and cannot sell. Unfortunately, for Victorian women, that meant some rather unsultry characters would see that, oh, they wanted their eyes to look all beautiful and watery. I'm just gonna make some random crap in my sink over here, and then we're gonna bottle it up and we're gonna sell it. And we're gonna say, hey, it's gonna give you the most beautiful, watery eyes that you could ever think of. But you could also get the watery eye look just from stuff in your house. Now, women at this time would use either lemon juice or vinegar, even sometimes perfume, whatever really they had on hand, and just give it a little spritz in their eyeball, okay? Now, it's gonna burn and it's gonna sting, but it's also gonna make your eyes tear up. There's where the watery look comes in. So when I was researching this, I just couldn't help but laugh because the lemon juice thing made me think of Patrick from SpongeBob. And I don't know if anyone remembers this, but that episode where he ripped the lemon in half and like put it on his eyeballs. So, wonderful. We're getting closer to this English rose look. We're kind of embodying this tuberculosis chic look, okay? What else do we need though? Well, women at this time really loved this idea of having really dilated pupils, like two big black holes that you could just fall down into. How are we going to get that though? Well, we could use Belladonna, also known as deadly nightshade. So, deadly nightshade is exactly what it sounds like. Deadly. in the proper dose, okay? So, women at this time would get eye drops that had belladonna in them, and they were like less than a lethal dose, okay? So, you're not going to die immediately from them. You'll still look cute, and eventually down the road, you'll probably have some side effects, which include but aren't limited to blurred vision, fever, heart palpitations, and convulsions. So, not the best, okay, but it is what it is. Dude, I'm so glad that we don't use that anymore. But my biggest fear is like 20, 30 years down the line, looking back at something that I've used for a very long time on my face and then being told, like, oh, yeah, it causes cancer or something, and being like, oh, okay. Oh, but friends, we aren't done yet. What are you going to do if you have sparse eyelashes or sparse eyebrows? You really want to thicken those up, you know? Well, for these sparse eyelashed and sparse eyebrowed gals, you could use some mercury as a night cream. Now, advertisements and beauty columns alike would suggest that women do this, albeit knowing that they were toxic chemicals that they would put on their faces. Now, I feel like up until this point, I've been kind of painting Victorians as pretty like stupid. Like, why would you put this on your face? And I don't really want to do that because they did know. Most people at this time knew that most of these ingredients were toxic or at least not good for your body. But there were other things that seemed a lot more like real, I guess, that could kill you. For example, tuberculosis or influenza, those were things that would kill you in a very short amount of time. Whereas if you haven't died after using mercury like the first or the second or the eighth time, then really what's the harm? That was just generally the culture at the time, from what I could gather in my research. So I don't want to paint them as stupid, but they maybe didn't have the most forethought, right? Anyway, if you don't want to slather on mercury on your eyes, then first of all, I applaud you. But second of all, there's another procedure that you can get done to get those eyelashes of your dreams, okay? Now, what you could do is go to get some eyelash extensions. And you might be thinking, okay, Nikki, relax. Like, we do that now, okay? Relax, bitch. But these aren't your ordinary eyelash extensions. Now you can walk down to your local salon and your esthetician will sit you down, lay you down, and make you feel all comfortable, right? And what she's going to do is she's going to start by putting some cocaine on the inner portion of your eyelids. That's going to numb you. And the second thing she's going to do is pluck a little bit of hair from your head, and she's going to thread that through the eye of a needle. She's going to tell you to relax. Oh, this might be a little painful. But what she's going to do is she's going to go in and out on the outer edge of your eyelid. And she's going to sew on this hair from your head onto your eyeballs. And at the end, when she's done, she's going to snip each loop to make sure that it's just one singular hair coming out. And you probably look a little scary, honestly. But now they aren't done. You still got to do a little bit more. And I think that this doctor summed it up very nicely. This doctor was speaking to the Independent Journal, and they reported, when the eyelashes are first cut, they stick out in the most singular fashion, and giving the person operated upon the most uncanny look. The operator's next step is to take the hot curling tongs, made of silver and no larger than knitting needles, and give them the curve to which is essential for perfect beauty. Then the eyes are carefully bandaged and kept so until the following day. Wow. Okay. Yikes.
Bombastic side eye.
I've been talking this entire time about like how to enhance your natural beauty, but like what if you were kind of born ugly? Or what if you just didn't look super naturally pretty and you wanted to maybe enhance some of your features?
Criminal offensive side eye.
Well, I think I need to back up and talk a little bit more about the Victorian beauty standards a bit more. Now, the English Rose was like a sweet, caring, well mannered young woman who was usually of upper class descent, right? And her story was complicated by this whole tragic fact of becoming ill with tuberculosis. And it seemed more like a tragic arc of, oh no, why would something so horrible happen to somebody so beautiful and innocent? Right? And that just made them all the more attractive, I guess. What if you don't look like the beautiful, tragic English rose, though? What are you supposed to do? Well, there were some pieces of makeup that you could use. I can tell you about it, but keep it on the DL. So the other beauty standard at this time, which really like wasn't a beauty standard, it was just kind of like hush hush, was the painted lady. The painted lady was seen as only really a suitable look for sex workers or theater performers, which were kind of seen as the same thing. However, regular women did use makeup at this time. They just kept it a very well guarded secret. So if you're a woman at this time and you're like, oh, I don't really look like an English rose, what do I do? Well, you could start by just keeping the makeup that you have on the down low, okay? Don't tell a soul, because if anyone finds out that you have makeup, it's pretty much social jeopardy. Now, what women would do is they would hide the makeup as medications, like put their rouge in a bottle that was prescribed by Dr. Brown or something like that. And what they also had at this time was kind of these like giant briefcases that would sit next to their toiletries. It would have medications and, other toiletries inside of it. Now, women would hide their makeup in these briefcases, and some of them even got really fancy. Okay, they had these little compartments inside of the briefcases that were like hidden little pockets, and they would put in their makeup in there. So, kind of getting fancy with it. Kind of fun. But also, you shouldn't have to hide your makeup. Like I said, women could sometimes have rouge, and that could be used as blush, it could be used as lipstick. But there was also another thing you could do. If you wanted your eyelashes to look all thick, you could put some beeswax on them and then go ahead and light a match, burn a little bit of a needle, and then with the soot that has come onto the needle, you just thread it through your eyelashes, kind of like a DIY mascara situation. But the key was to be light, okay? If people could tell that you had makeup on, it was, like I said, social jeopardy because people would see you as fraudulent or deceptive. But if you were a boss bitch and you wanted to be like, fuck the man, right? You could put some thicker makeup on, but you couldn't come back from it. Unfortunately, at this time, you would be ridiculed if you had gone from putting a lot of makeup on to suddenly wanting to look more natural. It just wasn't really an option. What you could get is these thicker concoctions of white paste. Now, that was meant to hide the blemishes or scars that some people had, and it was typically made out of ingredients like zinc oxide, talc, or even lead sometimes. So it wasn't good to put them on open wounds. Like if you had a zit or something, people would put them on the zits to cover it up, but it would be very corrosive and it would make the wound worse. So you can kind of see how this would spiral, right? If you use the lead for like one little blemish and it starts getting worse and worse, then how are you supposed to ever take your makeup off if you have this giant, ungodly looking scar? The other thing about using thicker products on your face was that you had to be really careful not to move and make a lot of facial expressions because it could crack. And then people would be able to tell that you had the makeup on. So it sucked because people who had a lot of makeup on would have to be like very, very not make any kind of facial movements, which sucks. So they couldn't really move their faces and they had to be still as a statue as much as they could for a very long amount of time. And that's all I have for you on how to look as good as you can with Victorian era makeup. I'm sure there was a lot more that wasn't toxic and that wasn't harmful to your body, but these were the ones that stood out to me when I was researching about this video. I thought it was really interesting and I hope you did too. Don't forget to leave a like or drop a comment. It really helps me out. If you like this video, I would encourage you to subscribe to my channel because I try to put out content whenever I can, but a bitch is in school and it's hard. Engaging with me helps me know that you want to see more of my content. I hope you enjoyed this video and I'll see you next time.